Test one, test two. You're gonna test me. I'm gonna test you. You don't like it, you can go for a walk. Come on, y'all, time for test talk.
Hey, little angel babies, it's Tessa with a video edition of Test Talks, which is really fun. A lot of people had been asking me, like three, hey, when are you going to do your podcast again? And I've been very lazy all year concerning the Test Talks podcast. See, I forgot how to do it. But we're going to get into it today. We're going to have some fun because I have a really cool guest. And I have a lot of questions for her, and you may too when this is all said and done, so we might have to bring her back. I went through a total journey, I feel like, last year. I went through a terrible breakup. I got into a house, so there were highs, there were lows. In the middle of that, I decided to take a plastic surgery journey, and my surgeon is Dr. Erica Bartlett from Town & Country Plastic Surgeons. And when it first started, I thought, okay, I know I want to work with her. This is someone I trust, and I got that whole thing done. And then afterwards, I was like, you know what? She's kind of cool. I think also I would like to be her friend. So that's who I'm here with today. It's I call her Dr. B. Call me Erica. Well, you're a doctor, so
I am, yeah.
you are, and she's here today. So I have a ton of questions, and really just wanted to catch up on you. So for people who don't know your background, your history, take us from the beginning. Did you ever think you would be cutting people open, giving them lipo?
Yeah.
Sucking their fat out, throwing it away?
Well, that's very interesting. I just also wanted to start out by saying that I was one of the 3 people that requested a podcast, so I'm happy that I was chosen.
Yes,
I feel so honored.
It was a lottery. It was a name out of a hat.
That sounds really cool. I've never done something like that before.
Yeah,
Let's
welcome.
do it.
Let's do it.
Thank you. So yes, I would love to explain my journey to you. I'm born and raised in Houston. I went to Stratford High School, and actually, as you know, my office is down the street from where I work or where I went to school. So I keep everything very close-knit.
Yes.
If you ask my parents, they probably never thought that their daughter would be a surgeon.
Why not?
This girl right here was always afraid of blood.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of that.
Right, exactly. So when I was younger, gosh, I wouldn't say it was, my mom says, you weren't sick, I was just sickly. And so I would get shots all the time, but every time I would get a shot, I would have to get bribed.
Nice.
I would get bribed with Barbies.
Nice.
So I had 76 Barbies.
Nice.
So no one is looking more forward to the new Barbie movie than me.
Well, you were I call you Plastic Surgeon Barbie. I'm like, what's Plastic Surgeon Barbie up to today? Because her office, the first time I met you, there was unicorns and pink and, you've embraced the girly culture of, this is who I am. Like, you're in pink scrubs. You don't shy away from that. Some people are like, I have to be serious at work. I'm a plastic surgeon, take me seriously. And you're like, see my sparklies? Do you see my sparklies over there?
I think I just try to be true to myself, pink, unicorn.
Girly girl.
I feel like it represents me, it unifies me, it makes me a little bit different from everybody else.
Right.
It's typically a male-dominated industry. I think now more than ever, females are being better represented in plastic surgery. So I'm just proud to be one of the females that are confident and happy just to be who I am.
Well, we always make the comparison that I work with Rod. Rod has dominated the radio industry, and people know who he is. You're kind of in the same deal with Dr. Yarish, who is someone who you've joined the practice with. I mean, he has his regulars, he's well known in the plastic surgery community, and it's like, here we come, hey, we're good at this too. We want to play, so Well,
it's true. Back in the day, when my partner started 30 years ago, this was a boys' club, right? There were maybe 1 or 2 females in Houston practicing plastic surgery.
Wow.
And now, like I say, it's probably, it's got to be at least half. I'm hoping it's half now.
Right.
And so I think, we're pushing through. We're letting the men know that we're here to stay.
Yeah. I also, when we had our consultation, I've talked to you about this before, that I had gone to another plastic surgeon, another practice, and he was a male, and he basically told me, yep, right as rain. Literally everything was just yep. It was just very quick. we'll get the results you want, boom, bam, boom. And it just didn't feel authentic to me. And I also wasn't at a place in my life where I mentally, I don't think I knew I wanted to make a change of like plastic surgery wise, but something just caused me to audible out of that. I said, it didn't fit right.
You have to click. You have to click with your surgeon.
Right.
I mean, there's so many things that go into finding the right person. You have to be in the right mind space, right?
Right.
And you have to do it for the right reasons. So if you're choosing plastic surgery because you're trying to appease somebody else, you're not going to have satisfaction with that. It doesn't matter how great your results are. You're never going to feel truly realized. And so maybe that was like the first mistake there.
Right.
And then, finding someone that you feel you have a connection with. And so, I think as a female, I have a little bit of a competitive advantage because my audience tends to be more female.
Right.
I think we can relate better to each other because we have similar parts.
Yeah.
We have,
what's going down.
Similar goals. Like we have similar bodies.
Right.
And
that's like, I'm unhappy. Let me move to another city, and fix everything. It's like you're still going to be you in that other city. You're going to do this if you're not in the right headspace to get a major surgery.
And do it for the right reasons, right? Like you weren't coming to me saying, I want to look snatched so that I can find a husband, right? You said you wanted more body confidence, right?
Well, I had lost weight on my own, and then I was like, you know what? This is kind of a trouble area that's not really going away. So it's natural, but if we can get that out of here, like I would love that. But anyway, a little rewind. So I'm sorry, you're afraid of blood. You had to be bribed with Barbies.
Was afraid of blood.
Had to be bribed with Barbies. And did you know straight away, like you were going to go to med school? How did that work out?
I think I always knew from a young age that I wanted to be in healthcare. Okay. I can't say that I wanted to be a surgeon, right? Like I don't think people associate surgeon with fainters. And so I wanted to practice primary care. So I went to medical school thinking I was going to be a family physician. But, it just really wasn't my passion. I wasn't interested in what I thought I was. And so part of every medical school program is introducing you to other fields, and part of that is surgery.
Right.
And so here's a girl who faints, being put into the operating room, who, in fact, fainted.
Wow.
Not once, not twice, a few times. But you know what? You get used to it.
You get knocked down.
And your fears become reality, and your reality becomes your future, right? So here I am doing this for a living. Now, I will say that even though I can do all this plastic surgery, I don't like being a patient myself. I'm still uncomfortable around my own blood.
Okay.
But I can deal with your blood, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you for dealing with my blood.
Yes.
And Baylor, right? How was school at Baylor? Tell me about that experience.
So I loved Baylor. I matched into my #1 program. I'm so thankful because it gave me a platform to become the plastic surgeon that I am now. I mean, to give me the knowledge, the experience, and also just be in my hometown. I think that was really helpful through those tough times. But 6 years of grueling training, but it allowed me to become a confident surgeon who I am now.
Right. And when she says confident, I mean, this is someone who she just got back from a mission trip where they go and they fix the cleft palate, the cleft lip, right? For people who are underserved communities. It's in Latin America. What country was it in?
So it's actually in Guerrero, Mexico.
Oh, okay. It was in Mexico.
Yeah. So my partner established the Crystal Foundation 30 years ago as a means to provide reconstructive surgeries to children who are born with cleft lips and palates.
Wow.
So this was actually the 30th anniversary of the Crystal Foundation, my second year going, and I found it just a great, worthwhile experience.
Right.
So we were able to help, I think, about 35 children this year.
Wow.
Lip, palate surgery, even some hands as well. And so I found that really gratifying experience.
Okay, gratifying, but how many hours of sleep did you get that entire?
Maybe 6 per night, so 6 times 3 I think is 18. I'm not a mathematician, but like you.
She does surgery, not math. You see, it's hard sometimes.
Everyone's good at something.
No, so I mean that in itself is great, and you are constantly fundraising for the Crystal Foundation. So they have a med spa. They'll do your injectables, your facials, which I had a wedding this weekend. I'm like, I need a dermaplaning.
Yeah.
I need to get some Dysport, and I'm all for it because in the entertainment industry, I don't think I would be so looks based. I don't think I would say, okay, but to me, if I'm going to be at the top of my craft and I'm on video right now, I'm on video live streamed every day, I want to look my best. I think it would be dishonest to say that I don't care what I look like. I think that would be very dishonest. I want to be the hot Houston rock radio chick. Like that's important to me. And if it's shallow, well, then I'm in the wrong business. Like I'm in the wrong business because everyone here in radio has some sort of ego. We're listening to ourselves talk all day. We're thinking what we have to say needs to be said right away. And that's okay to say. It just, no one's perfect. There are lulls, pros, cons in every, in every career. And I don't mind talking about those things.
Yeah. Well, I think that this industry allows you to feel body confident, face confident, and can allow you to give you the tools, I guess, to make yourself look and feel the most confident, right? I mean, if it wasn't for this industry, I most certainly would never be doing any of these facials, injectables. I wouldn't even have known better.
Right.
But being exposed to this industry, this lifestyle, I think it really helps you to perk up your confidence, and just gives you another avenue to feel your best.
Self-care, right? Self-care at a high form.
But it's misunderstood, right? So most people assume that if you get Botox or fillers or facials, that you're going to come out the other end and look like the tiger lady, right? But the reality is that people that are doing the Botox and fillers and facials, like those are the people that are aging gracefully, right? And so it's totally misunderstood.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I don't ever want to put anything in my face and I'm going to age naturally. But in the age of modern medicine, when we have all of this stuff available, I'm not in that lane. I want to say, okay, yeah, of course. But, what the J-Los and the Kim K's are doing, I want a piece of that. It's like buying yourself a nice pair of shoes. It's like, I want to feel really
look good, feel good.
Absolutely. Perform good.
And do you. And your image of beauty may be different from mine, right? I was born with thin little lips, right? I look at you and I'm like, oh, what I wouldn't do for those juicy babies right there, right? Well, I have a means to get there, right? Like that's why we have injectables, we have Botox, we have fillers, people that can help guide you to get the image that you want within reason, right?
Absolutely. Why do you think there is so much gatekeeping going on? Why do you think people don't want to say, hey, well, I've had a little, push here? Do you think, I think it's changing. I think it's changing a little bit more, right?
I definitely think that the society has changed, like the impression of like beauty and confidence. But I think it's tough probably to be in Hollywood, I guess, and to have that pressure to be beautiful. And as a role model, trying to tell people that you can achieve this look by just caring for yourself. And the reality is everyone ages differently, like even just genetically and ethnically. You're of Hispanic origin, right? And I'm Caucasian. Well, we're gonna certainly age different. I already told you what I wouldn't do for your skin, right? Just, you're lucky because you have thicker skin. Your skin is gonna age better than a thin Caucasian person. You can't change genetics. I mean, I can change like how much sun I'm getting or if I'm putting a cigarette in my mouth, which is bad, but there's some things you can't change. And so I need help, right? And so I've been working on this my whole life. People say, well, you're so beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. However, it's not like that I'm not getting the same things that I'm recommending to my patients. I've had plastic surgery. I had plastic surgery when I was 18 years old.
Same. When I turned 18, I wanted big boobs, but I was the age of. I think we grew up in the beauty magazine era too. You know what I mean? Where the younger kids are knowing, hey, this is like if this ad campaign is making me feel bad for myself, I'm going to kind of reject it. Where before there was no one telling us that. So
back in the day, we probably got it around the same age, right? I was 18, and everyone had breasts. Well, I didn't have breasts. I was waiting to have breasts.
Same.
They didn't grow. I didn't water them enough, I guess. So I took my babysitting money and I got breasts. And I hate to say it, but it was like the best decision of my life. Now, I wish that I would have learned a little bit more about what I was doing. I didn't feel super confident with my decision because I didn't understand what I was doing.
So young, right?
Yeah, I'm 18 years old. I'm just looking for a quick fix.
And we've talked about, my enhancement, and I'm like, I can't believe I can't believe how big I went.
But none of us even knew what size we had
was
when
the
we were at a young
Pamela
age,
Anderson
right?
effect, okay? I was like, these aren't that big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me tell you, you feel good, but you want to understand what you're doing to yourself and the implications it has down the road, right?
Absolutely.
So I don't think that my size was too large for me at that time, but I can tell you, I didn't know what I had.
Right.
And I think now the culture's changing. I think people are very selective about who they choose now, as you should be, because you have options. You know, different surgeons have different aesthetics, and you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page, right? Now, if you came to me and you said, I wanted to have 800 cc implants, which is large, I would probably say, I may not be the right surgeon for you.
Right, which is one thing I absolutely love, because we've sat down a consultation with my mom, who I love and adore, right? It's my mom.
Good lady,
She's I want her to be handled with the highest care, right? And, you know, she needed to lose a little bit more weight before she went under. I told her, you know, this is it's a surgery. Your body's going to be going through trauma. You want to go in there like Rocky fighting the Russian. Like you want to go in there.
You know how that is.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. Giving myself, I thought, you know, lipo, okay, I'm going to heal like super quickly. I'm going to try to get back into work because I'm a go person. And, you know, it was something that took more patience than I realized. And when I actually started to come out on the other end and healing and all this, I think I really started to drop the ball on my fitness, and I noticed that I wasn't doing the right things to rehab.
Amplified your results.
And I thought, I went through that, and I'm not going to take care of myself afterwards. No. But so it inspired me to keep going and get to the gym more and really take care of myself.
But don't you also think that maybe when some people start this journey, they think that the surgery is actually the hard part, when in reality, the surgery is the easy part.
I don't even remember the surgery.
It's the recovery, right? It's the work you do on the back end, right? Like you remember, like I had to grill you on nutrition.
Protein.
Right? And the garments and the massages. And it's not a one and done. Like it takes time. Everything in plastic surgery, I would say at least 3 months to optimize your results. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. And I would say give yourself patience and grace, but also listen to what you're being ordered.
But
you know
remember
what I mean,
too,
as
like
far
you
as
kind
nutrition.
of your mind, you're going through an emotional roller coaster, right?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people have regret, they feel sad, and that's totally normal.
When you can't get up and go, you think, what have I done? What did I, you know, if you can't pop up and, you know, go run a mile.
Because we did your surgery and you were like, oh, I'm going to be in work in a few days. Like, it's not a big deal because, like, I'm young and I'm tough, right? And I was like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, I'm here for you. Like, I support you. But, like, are you sure?
Right. No, it was tough. And it was a learning experience for sure. Would I do it again? Absolutely. In a heartbeat, I would, because I just feel like you can only, you know, I took myself at 37 to the highest fitness level I could, and I'm like, okay, I would like to go a level up. I would like to level myself up. So that's really what I look at it as, because the waist you gave me, Dr.
Well, you already had it. I just optimized you.
That was like, a whole new world.
Yeah, but you had realistic expectations, and I think that is of paramount importance when you're like engaging in a doctor-patient relationship, is make sure you guys are on the same page. Now, if you came to me and you said like you wanted to have this hourglass waist that was your body would not, allow for,
right?
But I told you I could do that, right? Like, well, then that just wouldn't work, right? You would never be satisfied,
right?
And so I felt like we were on the same page, right? I knew what you want, and I knew that I could help you get there,
right?
And if I couldn't, well, then, like I said, I'm probably not the right surgeon for you.
Right. And I think that's the hardest pill to swallow, too. It's like, well, you're supposed to be able to fix it. You know what I mean? And you're like, no, I'm being realistic with you. So there have been some plastic surgeons in the news. One in particular is a popular TikToker. And I was reading this in the wires on Friday, where she had got her license revoked. She was live streaming some of her surgeries on TikTok, right? But I think, okay, if I ran across that on my For You page, I'm like, that's interesting. What is going on? You had a couple of things to say about that, right?
Yeah, I think it's a tough situation. I don't actually know that surgeon personally, and I really feel for her.
Yeah.
The medical board revoked her license in Ohio because she was live streaming videos on TikTok, which the patients gave consent.
You would have to.
Yeah, she followed the right avenues. However, she had complications. Now, everybody has complications.
Yes.
But it's hard to defend somebody, I'm assuming, when your focus is on answering live stream questions and answers.
Right.
Everyone has complications. You know,
would that be hard for you to do? Like if you're there and you're...
For me personally, yes. I mean, I have a hard time straying focus away from what I'm doing.
Right.
Now, I've been in practice for 4 years, and my priority is growing my practice, growing my skill. I'm not at the place that I would even be comfortable live streaming, but I can't. Right. I don't judge her.
Right.
I know so many plastic surgeons that have made their business out of doing that, and I understand her goals. She was trying to demystify plastic surgery, right? She was trying to make it less scary.
Yeah.
But in a way, I think I want you to be scared.
Right.
Because I don't want people to think that they can just snap their fingers and have surgery. Like, there are risks associated with what we do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's hard. Surgery is tough and complications happen, and you don't want it to be you.
And it's like being the quarterback, right? So when things go well, you get all the glory, all the success. When you win the game, it's like, wow, you are put on a pedestal. But if there's complications, it's like, this is on you. Everything is your fault, you know?
It has to be. The buck has to fall on somebody, right?
Right.
It's going to fall on the surgeon. It's not going to fall on the nurse. It's not going to fall on the scrub tech. It's not going to fall on the anesthesiologist.
Right.
It's you. That person came to see you. You're responsible for that patient and their livelihood. And obviously, that person is probably very, very devastated by what happened to her patients.
Right.
But everyone has complications. It's just a tough situation, and I don't envy her in that situation at all.
Right.
It's just
tough.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate and it's tough. Okay, let's talk about, you had mentioned your goals being to grow your practice, to better your craft. You just got married?
I did.
Congratulations.
Actually. Thank you very much. Yes. Got married about a month ago at the Houstonian. My husband's name is Matt. I think that you have met him.
I think I've met him one time.
Maybe at one of our events, but lovely guy. Love the man. I'm married to him.
Good job.
Actually wore my rings today. You know, as a surgeon, we don't wear our rings that often because we don't want to lose them.
Right.
I have a habit of losing rings, so very happy. But, you know, trying to just become a well-rounded plastic surgeon. And have a good balance.
And in the city of Houston, I mean, you love this city. Yeah. This is where you chose to grow your practice.
Born and raised here, and this is where I want to. Grow.
Yeah.
You know.
I love too that you are very adamant about empowering women, and the majority of your office that works there are kick-ass women. You know what I mean? You have a great staff, and you, of course, Dr. Yarish, Travis. You have there are males on the staff, but why is that so important to you? Just like empowering women empowerment and us kind of like sticking together, stuff like that.
Gosh, I've always been a girl's girl. You know, like from the beginning. Like even growing up, I've always had a million girls friends. I don't know. I mean, in this industry, most of who I treat is females.
Right.
Who better to understand a female's goal than a female?
Right.
I feel that we have the unique ability to relate to each other. Yeah. Men don't have a lot of the same parts that we have. Now, I think there are plenty of really talented male surgeons out there. I'm not devaluing their skill by any means. I just feel that as a woman, we have the unique opportunity to really optimize and, you know, uplift all of our patients.
Right.
Because we're similar. We have similar genes. We at least have similar chromosomes, right? We have 2 X's.
Yeah.
We don't have a Y.
What is, in most recent memory, a patient testimonial that moved you? Because when we've had events, I see people go up to you and they're like, you changed my life. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? And you're so humble. I know you don't like, oh my God, I know you probably don't even like talking about that. But what is the most recent memory that jumps to mind? Like, as far as patient saying, like, telling you in that way that they are so much better because of what you've done?
I think just people feeling more confident in their bodies. So I do a lot of mommy makeovers, people that have had babies. You know, when you're pregnant, your muscles separate in your abdomen. You lose tone, you have back pain, and you can't hold your core tight. And so these women walk around feeling like they have pot bellies, and the reality is they don't. They're just muscles are weak. And when you tighten those muscles, you remove the skin. I mean, you gain confidence, you minimize pain, and you give these people their bodies back, and that's really gratifying. And so, you know, I'm not saving lives here, but I feel like I'm giving people back what they had before, and I value that.
Yeah. So again, my mom hasn't scheduled her surgery yet, but she has said, I just, like the loose stomach muscles, everything, you know, she's about to be 60, and through that, you know, your life is so far from over at 60. You have so many more chapters left in your book, and I do want her to go back into them feeling like, hey, I'm still all woman, I'm still feminine, I'm this, and she's going to be that surgery without surgery. But I know the confidence boost that would give her going into these, you know, these later chapters of life. And she was such a good mom to all of us. So I encourage the mommy makeover is like, if anyone deserves it, it's a mom, right?
I know. Well, 60 is like the new 50, right? And 50 is the new 40.
Yes, absolutely.
40 is the new 30, right? Like, I feel way better about myself in my 30s than I did in my 20s.
Same. But I'm also glad that the wave of body acceptance is kind of, I feel like it's all melting together. So plastic surgery is not going away. Insecurity is not going away. But we're understanding it more and how they can work for us. We did a story on Friday. It was like, did you know, like, bikini line hair is it's fine now. Like it's a trend. You can show it at the beach. Don't be ashamed. I was the hairiest person on the planet. And I live in Corpus Christi. This is by the beach. So my friend's like, hey, let's go to the beach. I'm like, okay, I need like an hour. And have you ever seen the meme of the girl that's like just coated in shaving cream? I was her because I was so, you know, and I'm like, wow, that would have been so cool. And now I've gotten laser hair removal at the med spa. Yeah, I'm almost done. Yeah. I've shaved like once this month. I'm loving the hairless life. Yeah. But I just remember before, you know what I mean? Like saying it's okay. If you're not there yet and you're not getting all the laser and the med spa stuff.
Well, do you, right?
Right,
like, be body confident. It's funny that you mentioned the hair, because I told my husband last night, babe, I had a dream about hair, and in my dream I looked down and I had all this pubic hair that went down my thighs, and I was like, oh, I forgot to shave. And then I was like at the beach, and I was like, that's such a weird dream. And he was like, that's gross. And I was like, is it? That may be some people's fetish right there. Like, do you, right? Like, now personally, like, I don't like to shave. I cut myself a lot. So yeah, I laser it down. But you know, I don't judge anybody who has hair anywhere.
I'm like, let me find out the bush is back in as I have lasered everything off.
Yeah, that would stink. You're like, can't really get it back. Well, now, you know, you could probably, if we're doing hair extensions, right? We could extend whatever we want.
Clip in,
yeah, it would probably need to be a sticky paper though. Something that you could add a little fluff.
Verbal trademark. We said that first.
The Bartlett muff.
The Bartlett muff. Hashtag the Bartlett muff. Okay. You all speaking of the vagine, you operate on that too. Yes. I mean, there's no place you won't go with your surgery knife.
Yes,
Mrs. I don't like blood.
Like I said, I can see it. I can't have it. Yes, actually, labioplasties do make up a big part of my practice. Honestly, I'd say over the last few years, I've seen more and more women in my office complaining of two things. A, chafing, irritation, and then just aesthetics. Okay. That, you know, the skin hangs or protrudes, and they're uncomfortable. And so these people... maybe a few years ago would have been turned away. Probably would have just gone to their OB-GYN, and they would have just told them it's normal, because it is actually, it's totally normal.
All shapes and sizes, and
But yeah, I mean, now there's something you can do about it, that you can improve not only the appearance.
Surgery?
It is actually a relatively quick procedure. I'd say 1 hour duration.
Okay. And then what is the rehab for that? Like, not the rehab, what is
recovery like?
Recovery. Yeah. Trying to use the lingo. See?
Yeah, so you gotta be cool.
Yeah, what's the recovery like?
So recovery is typically 1 week just resting at home on your butt.
Okay.
After that, you know, people can get back at it. They just need to be careful.
Yeah.
It's a sensitive area.
Absolutely.
But after 2 weeks, people are pretty good.
Wow.
You know, I'd say after 1 week, people are back at work. I mean, there are restrictions and precautions that you're going to have, but it's nothing more than any other of the plastic surgery procedures that we do. I'd say about a week recovery.
Right. The more you know.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's, I mean, I don't have kids, but I would assume after you had a kid.
Things change.
Yes.
Things change.
Right.
Things change whether you had a kid.
Right.
Some people are just born with just different tissue in their labia region.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own issues or complaints. And so as long as it's realistic, we can help them reach their goals.
Yeah.
You know?
And when someone comes to you and they say, this is my goal, this is what I have in mind, I mean, you take a lot of time. I was actually very surprised about how thorough and, I mean, pleasantly surprised about how thorough the questions, because you want to know lifestyle, you want to know, hey, what are you doing after, to see if this patient, if you guys are
it's
a match.
It's a relationship for sure, right? I mean, we probably spent an hour time duration at our consultation, and it's not just telling you about what surgery you're going to have, right? Like, I want to understand your history, like not only medically, but surgically. I want to know if you smoke. I want to know who's going to help you after your surgery. I think after yours was your sister, right?
My sister was my nurse.
And thank God for her, right? Because she pushed you to eat the protein because I know your ass wasn't doing it.
I wanted like fruit. I wanted like,
you know, you wanted to have
like
lipo, so you didn't want to eat a lot. But
I wanted like a Topo Chico.
That's okay. So I want to make sure that you can have the best result. And so you need to have a support system. So if you came and said, like, I'm going to have the surgery, then I'm going to be back at work the next day, like, I don't have anyone to take care of me. Right. Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a problem for you, that's a problem for me.
We actually called in the reserves. We called in my mom. Allison was like, I'm not doing this by myself.
She had to whip you into shape, right?
She did, because she was helping me in the shower. We were changing my faja, my garments. We were, I mean, I had massages to do everything. So it is a whole process.
It's work for sure.
Right. So all these fun bikini pictures you guys see me in at the beach, like, I feel like I've earned those. I feel like I have.
Blood, sweat, tears.
My blood.
I don't know, like, what's faja made of? Like something tight and stretchy material?
Compression.
The
compression.
Yes. Boards. Like, she did it all.
Everything. But
looking back now, it was worth it.
Looking back, and yes, and I feel like talking about it and letting people know, you know, and they ask me questions and I can tell them all about my experience, but I always just say, listen, get in that chair, go talk to Dr. Bartlett, because she's going to answer more questions than you have, and you guys will figure it out.
We spent like an hour together when we first met in our consultation, right? Mm-hmm. We were in there for an hour.
Right.
You know, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Like getting to know each other, talking to each other. It wasn't even just looking at you.
Right.
Right. We were talking because I want to make sure that like we're a good fit for each other. Like, am I the right surgeon for you?
Right.
Are you also the right patient for me?
Right.
Am I going to be able to produce a good result? Am I going to be able to make you happy?
Right.
I think it was a good match.
It was. I know it was. And then, you know, it was one of those things too. It's like, well, if I'm going to talk about this on the radio, I mean, if I'm going to, you know, we're going to have a relationship, not just plastic surgery, but a radio relationship where I am I'm sending people, our listeners, over to someone.
You have to experience it yourself. You
Why?
know?
I could never send, our listeners are like family.
Yeah.
I could never send them to someone and be like, yeah, they're great.
You had to do it for everybody.
Exactly.
You had to
You're
do
welcome.
the surgery.
Do you see what I do?
Because
for the city
of her,
Houston?
now she knows that everyone should get 360 lipo.
Yes, exactly. They're like, call it the Tessa 360. I was like a menu item. I'm like, it's like
Let's
getting your own burger named after you.
And then remember when we did that photo shoot afterwards?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we'll share some of the photos from that. If you're watching the video version of this, I want to share the pictures from the cleft palate surgeries. I want to share my modeling pictures that she made me do. She was like, get in the pool, wet your hair. I was like, am I doing it right?
But tell them the reason why we do it was for patient appreciation, right?
It's very nice.
These people that have had, it was a mommy makeover photo shoot. So all these moms who have worked their ass off for their results, who feel hopefully super confident now, are in a bathing suit, we're at a pool and we're taking professional photos.
And you're
awesome.
And you're a creative director.
I was
She goes, the photographer hated me. I was like, no, you were helping her. And she was like, no, I have a vision.
Back. Put your boobs out. You know, I know what looks good. Obviously, she does too.
But you were the one who, I mean, it's very much like the orchestrator. It's your symphony. You created the body structures, and you're like, pose like this.
I was just trying to help people have a good time. I mean, I'm living out my next best life. You know, remember I wanted to be a model when I was growing up in high school.
Oh, you're tall. That could have worked out.
It didn't work though. You know why?
Why?
Because they told me my ass was too fat. Right now,
it's probably
if
not
it was
big enough.
20 years ago, I could be runway model potential.
See?
But then I wouldn't be a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'm glad you didn't make it. I need to have my.
Yeah, so screw you, Paige Parks.
Yeah.
Now, just kidding. I know you do good work.
Watch this and weep. Okay, we actually have a ton of fun. Together, happy hours, all that, when we can get away. Yeah. So I thank you for being the best. Thank you for coming in today, hanging out, and clearing some stuff up. And I think people will have more questions. And if you're willing to do this again, so am I.
I would love this. This was so much fun. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here today. Okay. And honestly, carrying on with our banter, this is fun.
Yes, we always have a good time, and we'll get a little. I'm trying to convince Dr. Bartlett to have a reality show. So when you see that next,
apparently
you can thank me.
I would make for good TV, I guess.
Well, her trip to do the cleft palate, she missed her flight, had to get another one. It was a whole ordeal. I was like, I would have watched
almost
stole
a pregnant dog from Mexico.
See? Oh, very passionate about animals too.
Yes.
See, we need more time.
Yes, so much to talk about.
That charity that you're passionate about, Humane Society, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Houston Humane Society. So dog lover, animal lover. I love her. I love her.
There's a lot of love in this room.
So much love. And I wish you all the success, but I know the Houston takeover is on its way. So this has been the first official Tess Talk after many trials and errors. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you guys.